Hello, everyone. My name's Kim Miller. I am the Executive Director and the founder of FemArt Organization, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit that supports women artists. And today it is with great pleasure that I am introducing you to one of our artists in our upcoming show, Where the Wild Women Go. And I would like to introduce you to Jennifer Bothast, and I would like to welcome her and also ask her our first question, and that is, Jennifer, can you please explain what inspires you to create art?
I can't not. I need it almost as much as oxygen and water. I need it. If I go a couple of weeks without, I start getting cranky. I start getting agitated, irritable. For every experience that comes in, there's an expression that goes out for me. And so painting for me is an important way to be able to expel that energy and process what's happening. So that could be in my personal world, and then also, community, globally, things in the news, anything that comes in that I need to process. The best way for me to do that is through my art.
I love that answer. And I also, you've been in other FemArt shows, and you have done some very, very beautiful pieces based on your answer just now about school shootings. You have actually done some very powerful work about that. Can you kind of talk about that process of how you took a current event and how you created art from that event?
Yeah, that was tough. Sometimes I start with a theme. Sometimes I know what I'm going to do, but most of the time with the abstracts, I don't. Sometimes I'll just start, and then it's not until I'm a good portion of the way through that I realize what it is I'm doing. And so that happened with that piece in particular. That one is so much can happen in one heartbeat, or something like that. And that's essentially what it was. It was not long after yet another school shooting, and that piece sort of swirls. There are a lot of spirals in my work that's been evolving over the last few years. And that spiral felt like a heartbeat to me, and just how much can change in such an instant. So,
And I have to say that art piece was really amazing. It was breathtaking, and it really hits home when you understand the title and how it impacts the community. And so I would like also to talk about your current piece that you have in Where the Wild Women Go, Eve Claims Her Power. So Can you tell us a little bit about how you believe this art piece expresses Eve claiming her power?
Well, that was an interesting piece. So I started this series, I called it the Divine Feminine series, but my purpose was to pull in matriarchs of every color, culture, creed. And so I've done a few pieces, and then I shifted back to the abstracts. But Eve is the first woman. Eve, I had borrowed a book from someone. It was called Women in the Hebrew Bible or something like that. And the story about Eve portrayed in this book was so cool, because it wasn't the typical things that I've read where, Eve is the victim. Poor Eve got taken by the snake, and she's so sorry, and she's, timid and demure, and she messed up, and now we all have to pay for it for eternity. But in this particular book, it was it just sort of flipped things. And so it was talking about maybe the snake wasn't the bad guy. Maybe the snake was showing her the way through this tree of knowledge to be able to take what she should. And maybe it was reverse psychology, with God saying you can have anything except for that one, not that one. And so I took that story And I really wanted to portray this Eve like that. I wanted her to be strong and not sorry, you know, to really have it take on that mystical piece where she claims that power, where she gets to know herself and she's independent, and it's not a terrible thing. So I wanted to shift the story a little bit and have it be coming more from a feminist viewpoint, and not, you know, poor Eve messed it up for everyone. So
I
yeah.
love that, Jennifer. That is so perfect. And it's so perfect for this show, Where the Wild Women Go. And
Yeah.
Eve being the first wild woman.
Right? Yeah.
I think it's a lesson that we can all learn from. And the feminist perspective, or the female perspective, is so important in our world, not even just locally where FemArt is located here in Jacksonville, Florida, but it spans beyond, which is what our show is trying to do by making it a virtual show that can be seen all over the world. So how do you think Eve Claims Her Power will be received in the rest of the world, where there's so many different cultures and so many different women's places, I guess, in every society? How do you think she will be received?
I hope that she'll be respected for her strength, and maybe at least make us think again. Maybe it's not, maybe, you know, the story that we all blindly accept, maybe it's not quite like that. I don't know, but I wanted to show a different perspective. And so, you know, she's not eating an apple, she's eating grapes. I thought that was more sensuous. And she's not, you know, picking a grape. She has the whole cluster covering her face. You know, she's all up in it, right? She's devouring the grapes, and she's asserting herself. I think that women need that, and so you know, we're so used to taking a second seat and apologizing for ourselves, and not really not really living up to our potential, or not exploring and taking risks. And God, I think Eve certainly did that. So I hope that that piece speaks to women in that way, and, you know, that it's okay to be strong. It's okay to try new things, and maybe it's a mistake, but that's how we learn.
Jennifer, I love you. You are an amazing artist. You have an amazing message, and I am so glad that you are in this show. I do have one more question to close out our interview. I've been asking all of the artists what your preference is for a beverage before you begin your creative process. Do you prefer caffeinated coffees and teas, or do you prefer alcohol to soothe the wild beast within?
Neither.
Neither? Okay, good.
Neither. I usually drink vitamin water, just something, you know, to stay hydrated, because I don't know, once I go into the studio, I may not come out for hours, and so water is good. A little bit of electrolytes maybe, but that's it. Nothing special.
I love it. I'm actually a kombucha girl, so
I've tried that. I'm not crazy about it. I don't know if it's like an acquired taste.
Yes, it does take an acquired taste,
Yeah.
but let's pretend that this is filled with water.
Oh, yes. Oh, I have mine over there.
I would just like to say cheers to you, Jennifer, and thank you so much for gracing our show with your...
I appreciate it. I'm grateful to be included.
Thank you so much. And
thanks.
we look forward to the whole world seeing your art in this show. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.